My name is Lauren Metcalf. I'm 26 years old. 3 weeks ago, my mother shoved a crumpled suit 2 sizes too big into my chest and sneered. Wear your sister's old rag. You don't deserve new things. You're lucky we even let you live under our roof. My sister Brittany stood nearby in her brand new designer blazer, arms crossed, smiling the way she always smiled when she'd won another round. She always got the new car, the paid-off apartment, the best connections. I got the hand-me-downs and the daily reminder that I was the family burden. But here's what my parents and my perfect sister never saw coming. I was walking into the biggest interview of my life, at the exact company where Brittany worked. 3 floors directly above the interview room. The CEO took one look at me in that pinned-together disaster, stood up, draped her own blazer over my shoulders, and said with ice in her voice, "I know exactly who put you in that suit." She wasn't talking about my parents. And that single moment was the beginning of everything they thought they controlled completely falling apart. I grew up in Portland, Oregon, in a house where there was always enough. Just never enough for me. My parents weren't poor. My father Craig worked union electrical jobs for 30 years. My mother Tammy managed the front desk at a dental office. They owned the house outright, 2 cars, a backyard with a fence they repainted twice. But if you'd asked me growing up, I would have told you we were barely getting by. Because that's what they said every time I needed something. New shoes for school. We can't afford that right now, Lauren. Where are Brittany's old ones? A laptop for college. They gave me Brittany's old MacBook, the one she'd already replaced with a brand new one they bought her for her freshman year at a 4-year university. I went to community college. They said that was all they could manage. The year after Brittany moved out, her bedroom was converted into a guest suite. $30,000 in renovations, new flooring, new fixtures, a sliding glass door to the backyard. When I asked why they couldn't help with my textbooks that semester, my mother said, "We just don't have it, Lauren. You know that." I believed her for years. I believed all of it. The thing about being the second daughter in a family like mine is that you don't just get less. You get told you deserve less. And after hearing it long enough, you start building your life around that belief. You stop asking. You stop expecting. You learn to make do with whatever falls off the table after everyone else has eaten. I was a freelance graphic designer. I worked off an iPad with a cracked screen because I couldn't afford a new one. I had taught myself everything, color theory, typography, layout, from free online tutorials. My portfolio was good. I knew it was good. But every time I thought about applying for a real position at a real agency, I'd hear Brittany's voice in my head. "You're talented, Lauren, but you don't have the discipline for a full-time role." That's just being honest. She'd said that at Thanksgiving 2 years ago, in front of our parents. My mother had nodded along. So I stayed freelance. I stayed small. I stayed exactly where they had put me. Until 5 weeks ago, when I saw a listing for a junior designer position at Ridgewell Creative, one of the best agencies in Portland. The posting described exactly what I could do, exactly the kind of work sitting in my portfolio. I stared at it for 2 hours before I hit submit. 3 days later, I got the interview confirmation. I should have been excited. Instead, I sat at my kitchen table and felt my stomach drop, because I knew what came next. I would have to tell my parents. And I would have to ask for help. Sunday dinner at my parents' house. The same table, the same seats, the same ritual. I waited until my mother set her fork down. I got an interview. At a design agency. A good one. She didn't look up. "That's nice, honey." A beat. "Oh, did I tell you Brittany just got another raise? 3rd one in 2 years. Her boss absolutely loves her." I watched her redirect the conversation like she was changing lanes without signaling. My interview wasn't worth a full stop. It was a speed bump on the way to talking about Brittany. "I need a suit," I said. "Something professional. The interview is important." My mother set her napkin down slowly, the the way she did when she'd already made a decision before I opened my mouth. "Lauren, we already spent so much getting you through school. Your sister has a suit. A perfectly good one. I'll dig it out. Mom, it won't fit. Brittany's taller than me, and it's old. Then make it work." She picked up her fork again. "You don't deserve new things, Lauren. Not when you haven't proven you can keep a job longer than 6 months." That sentence landed where it always landed. Right in the center of my chest, in the spot that had been soft since I was 12 years old. I didn't argue. There was no point. You don't argue with someone who's already written the verdict before the trial. When I left that night, my mother handed me a garment bag, the cheap kind, more like a trash bag with a zipper. Inside was a charcoal suit that smelled like the back of a closet. 2 sizes too big. Shoulder pads from another era. A loose button on the left cuff. I took it home. I laid it on my bed. I stared at it. Then I got out the safety pins. The night before the interview, I stood in my bathroom, the one with the cracked tile and the light that flickered when it rained, and I pinned that suit together. I pinned the waist. I pinned the hem where it dragged. I folded the cuffs and pinned those too. 7 safety pins total. I counted them. I almost didn't go. I stood there looking at myself in that mirror in a suit held together by metal and stubbornness, and I thought, they're right. I look like exactly what they think I am. Then I looked at my portfolio on the cracked iPad propped against the sink. 16 projects. 3 rebrands. A non-profit campaign that increased their donations by 40%. My work was good. My work had always been good. If they judged me by this suit, they didn't deserve my work. I hung it on the hook in my closet and turned off the light. The morning of the interview, I changed in the lobby restroom of Ridgewell Creative's building. I'd taken the bus. The suit was too bulky to wear on public transit, so I'd carried it in the garment bag and changed in a stall. Standing in front of the restroom mirror, I pulled the jacket straight and checked the pins. That's when I noticed it. Inside the collar, stitched in faded thread, were 2 initials. TM. Not BM. Not Brittany Metcalf. TM Tammy Metcalf. This wasn't Brittany's suit. It was my mother's, from the 90s, maybe earlier. The cut, the shoulder pads, the fabric. It was decades old. Brittany had never worn this suit. My mother had told me it was your sister's old suit. But that was the first lie. The first one I could prove. I adjusted the pins. I walked into the lobby. I pressed the elevator button for the 6th floor. The interview panel was 3 people. In the center chair sat a woman in her early 50s, silver-streaked hair pulled back, reading glasses on a chain around her neck. She looked up when I walked in, and her eyes did something I didn't expect. She didn't look at my face first. She looked at my shoulders. At the way the suit hung 2 inches past my actual frame. At the safety pin catching the overhead light near my left cuff. Then she looked at my face, and her expression shifted. Not to pity. To something sharper. Recognition, almost. As if she were comparing what she was seeing to something she had already been told. She glanced at a tablet on the table, tapped it once, looked back at me. Then she stood up. She walked around the table, removed her own blazer, navy, fitted, expensive, and held it out. "Wear this," she said. "And sit down." I took it. I put it on. It fit. The interview lasted 45 minutes. They asked about my portfolio, my process, my experience with brand identity. I answered everything. I was good. I knew I was good. At the end, the 2 managers left. The woman in the center, Donna Hall, CEO and founder of Ridgewell Creative, stayed. She looked at me across the table and said very quietly, "I know exactly who put you in that suit." I assumed she meant my parents, that she saw a young woman in an ill-fitting suit and understood the kind of family that produces that picture. But there was something in the way she said who. Singular. Specific. Not what kind of people. Who. as if she knew a name. I didn't ask. I shook her hand and left. She told me to keep the blazer until I came back. I walked to the bus stop in a CEO's blazer and my mother's 30-year-old suit. And I didn't yet know that I had just walked into the middle of my sister's carefully constructed lie. Brittany called that evening. Her voice was bright, interested, the way she always sounded when she wanted information. "Hey, how'd it go?" "Good. I think it felt good." "Where was it again?" She'd already asked me this a week earlier when I first mentioned the interview. I told her then. Now she was asking again. "Ridgewell Creative." 2 seconds of silence. Not 1, not 3. Exactly 2. The length of time it takes someone to absorb something they already knew but needed to hear confirmed. "Oh, cool. Good luck." She hung up. I set my phone down. Something felt off. I couldn't name it yet, but it was there, a frequency just below hearing. For days later, I was at a coffee shop on Hawthorne when someone said my name from behind me. I turned. Megan Sawyer. We'd overlapped at Portland Community College, both in the design program. We weren't close, but we were friendly enough to stop and talk. She sat down. We caught up. She asked about freelance. I asked about her job. "Still at Ridgewell," she said. "Junior designer. 3 years now." My coffee cup stopped halfway to my mouth. "You know your sister works there, right?" she said. "Brittany. She's on the 3rd floor. Senior brand strategist. Been there about 4 years." She said it casually, like it was public knowledge. Like everyone knew. Everyone except me. Brittany had never told me the name of her company. Every time I'd asked, it was an agency downtown, or a creative firm, you wouldn't know it. I'd stopped asking because I figured she didn't want me comparing my freelance work to her corporate career. But she worked at Ridgewell. 3 floors above the room where I had just interviewed. "What floor did you say?" I asked, keeping my voice level. "3rd. Strategy." I thought about Brittany's call. Where was it again? She had already known. She had known before I walked in. I thanked Megan. I meant it. She had just handed me something without knowing what it was. I left the coffee shop and opened my phone. I typed Brittany Metcalf Ridgewell Creative into the search bar. The company website had a team page. Clean layout, professional headshots, short bios. I scrolled until I found her. Brittany Metcalf. Senior brand strategist. Below the headshot, a bio paragraph. I read the summary line first. Overcame significant family hardship to pursue a career in creative strategy. Family hardship. Brittany lived in a paid-off apartment our parents helped her buy. She drove a car they co-signed. She went to a 4-year university on their budget. She had never, not once, gone without. I clicked the full bio and read it. Growing up in a household where resources were scarce, I learned early that creativity was my only way out. I put myself through community college while working part-time to support my family. I wore hand-me-downs and shared a room with my sister until I was 18. Design wasn't a career choice. It was survival. I stopped breathing. Community college. That was me. I went to community college. Brittany went to a university. Working part-time to support the family. That was me. I sent money home when I freelanced. Brittany never sent a cent. Hand-me-downs. That was me. I wore Brittany's old clothes. Brittany always had new ones. Every single detail in that bio was my life. Not hers. Mine. She hadn't exaggerated her story. She hadn't embellished it. She had taken mine, the whole thing, detail by detail, and put her name on it. She wore my life the way I wore her suit. Something that didn't belong to her, held together by the assumption that no one would ever check. I sat in my apartment and stared at the screen until the words blurred. Then I opened a folder on my phone and named it Proof. I started screenshotting every line. She had stolen my story. And she had used it to build a career 3 floors above the room where she had tried to make sure I would fail. My mother called the following Sunday. "So, how'd the interview go, sweetie?" Her voice was lighter than usual. Almost cheerful. My mother was never cheerful about my career. "Fine. I think it went well." "Oh, good. But you know." And there came the pivot. Brittany said those companies are really competitive. The good ones, I mean. Don't feel bad if you don't hear back. She was using Brittany's name as a weather forecast I should plan around. And she was using present tense, Brittany said, as if they had just spoken. But I hadn't told Brittany the company name until after the interview. Which meant my mother and Brittany had discussed it before the call. Maybe before the interview itself. Something was itching at the back of my brain. The Sunday dinner that followed, I arrived early. My mother was in the kitchen. She'd left her phone on the counter, face down, the way she always did. She went to the backyard to check on the grill. I had maybe 3 minutes. I picked up the phone. No passcode. My mother didn't believe in them. "If you've got nothing to hide, you don't need a lock," she'd said once. I opened her messages. Scrolled to Brittany's name. The thread was long. I scrolled to 3 days before my interview. Brittany's message. Timestamped 9:47 p.m. She applied to my company. "Mom, don't let her buy a new suit. Let her wear the old one. She'll bomb the interview and stop dreaming. Trust me." I read it twice. Then a third time. "She'll bomb the interview and stop dreaming. Trust me." Below it, my mother's reply. "Okay. I'll handle it." No hesitation. No pushback. "No, that's cruel, or she's your sister." Just, "I'll handle it." I scrolled further up the thread. 2 weeks before the interview, Brittany had sent another message. She's been talking about applying to agencies. Keep telling her freelance is more her speed. She listens to you more than she thinks. My mother's reply, already on it. Told her last week she doesn't have the discipline for full-time. She didn't argue. Doesn't have the discipline. I had heard that phrase from Brittany at Thanksgiving. I had heard it from my mother in a dozen different forms. And now I could see the pipeline. Brittany fed the line to Mom. Mom delivered it to me. And I absorbed it like it was original thought. The words I'd been using to hold myself back were never my own. They were manufactured. Assembly line cruelty. I took 6 screenshots. My hands were shaking and the first 2 were blurry. I put the phone back, face down, exactly where it had been. My mother came back inside. "Dinner's almost ready. Set the table." I set the table. I put the forks on the right side because that's how she liked them. I poured water into matching glasses. I sat down and ate pot roast and listened to my father talk about a wiring job. I smiled and nodded and said, "That sounds good, Dad, in all the right places." Inside, I was holding a grenade. My mother hadn't made me wear that suit because we couldn't afford a new one. She hadn't said you don't deserve new things because she believed it. She said it because Brittany told her to. The suit, the words, the humiliation. All of it, designed by my sister, executed by my mother. I drove home that night with the screenshots on my phone and one question I couldn't stop turning over. How long had Brittany been running this family? Monday morning. I sat across from Donna Hall for the second time. I didn't make small talk. I opened my phone, found the screenshots, and slid it across the desk. Donna picked it up. She read. 10 seconds of silence. I counted them because I was counting everything now. She set the phone down. She didn't look at me with pity. She looked at me the way you look at evidence. "She told your mother to sabotage the interview," Donna said. Not a question. "Yes. And your mother did it." "Yes." Donna leaned back. She was quiet for a long time. When she spoke, her voice was lower, slower, careful. "I hired Brittany Metcalf 4 years ago. I promoted her twice. I gave her a raise last year based on a performance review in which she described growing up wearing hand-me-downs and working her way through community college. She paused. Her entire brand in this company is built on your life, Lauren. And she tried to destroy you to protect it. She opened the manila folder on her desk. Inside, Brittany's performance reviews, her company bio draft, her mentoring program application. All of it built on the same lie. I'm going to talk to her, Donna said. And then I'm going to talk to HR. I need to verify some things, enrollment records, employment history. But I want you to know the position you interviewed for is still open. She met my eyes. Don't tell your sister. Let me handle this properly. I nodded. I took my phone back. I walked out and sat in my car for 15 minutes before I started the engine. Not because I was crying. Because I needed to decide what came next. Donna moved faster than I expected. She called Brittany into her office that same afternoon. I wasn't there. Donna told me about it later, after everything was over. But I'm going to tell you exactly what happened, because Donna remembered every word. Brittany walked in confident. She thought she'd been called in for a project update, maybe a compliment. She was carrying her Moleskine notebook, the one she wrote her career milestones in. Donna didn't ask her to sit down. Tell me about your community college experience, Donna said. Brittany didn't hesitate. She launched into it, the same story, the same details, the same practiced rhythm she'd used for 3 years. The part-time job. The hand-me-downs. The struggle. Donna let her finish. Interesting, because I spoke with your sister, and she told me a very different story about who actually went to community college. Brittany's face changed. Not all at once. More like watching ice form on glass, slow, then sudden. And then she did what she always did. What she'd done to me in every conversation where the truth got too close. She cried. Lauren has always been jealous of me, Brittany said, her voice shaking with precision. She's coming here to ruin my career because she can't build her own. My sister is manipulative. She's always been like this, and now she's using you to get to me. Donna told me later she almost hesitated. Brittany was a 4-year employee. I was an applicant she had met twice. Brittany delivered the right tears, the right tremor, the right framing. She made it sound like I was the one running a con. But Donna had the screenshots. And she had something else. The look on my face when I had walked into that interview room in a suit held together with pins. No one fakes that. I need to verify some things, Donna told Brittany. We'll talk again. Brittany left thinking she had won. In the hallway, Megan saw her pull out her phone and duck into the stairwell. Megan heard her whisper. They're going to believe Lauren. We need to get our stories straight. A pause. Then, Mom. Still calling the same number. Still using the same weapon. Donna didn't leave it to instinct. She verified. She called Portland Community College's registrar. There was no enrollment record for Brittany Metcalf. There was one for Lauren Metcalf. 2-year design program. Graduated with a 3.6 GPA. She pulled Brittany's original hiring materials. Brittany had listed a 4-year degree from Oregon State. No mention of community college. The hardship story hadn't appeared until her first performance review, 6 months after she was hired, and it had grown from there into an identity. An identity that wasn't hers. Conference room B had glass walls. I mention that because it matters. Everyone in the open office could see in, and they could see who walked out. I arrived at 9:50 a.m. Donna was already there. So was the HR director, Bridget, with a legal pad and a pen she kept clicking. Megan sat in the corner, not as a participant, but as a witness. Donna had asked her to be there. At 9:58, Brittany walked in. She was dressed for a performance review, not a reckoning. Black pantsuit. Gold earrings. The Moleskine notebook she carried everywhere. She smiled at Donna, smiled at Bridget, glanced at me, and her smile tightened just slightly. Like a rubber band stretched one notch too far. "Have a seat," Donna said. Brittany sat across from me. Hands folded on her notebook. Composed. Controlled. "Brittany," Donna opened, "I've called this meeting to clarify some inconsistencies that have come to my attention." Brittany nodded. Unfazed. "I'd like to hear from you first," Donna said. "In your own words." And Brittany, right on cue, delivered her closing argument before anyone had presented the case. "My sister has always struggled with comparison," she said, her voice measured and sad. "She didn't get the same opportunities one did, and I think that's been hard for her. I love Lauren, but she has a pattern of," she paused, choosing her words like a surgeon choosing a scalpel, "reinterpreting situations to match how she feels. She applied here without telling me, and now she's trying to use our family dynamics to get something she hasn't earned." She looked at me. One tear. Right on time. Perfect trajectory down her left cheek. "I built my career here from nothing," she said. "And it hurts that she's trying to take that from me." The room was quiet. Bridget wrote something down. Donna opened a folder. "Brittany, your bio on our company website states that you attended community college while supporting your family." She placed a single sheet of paper on the table, a printed verification from Portland Community College's registrar. "There is no enrollment record for Brittany Metcalf. Not in any program, not in any semester." She let that sit for 3 seconds. "There is, however, a complete enrollment record for Lauren Metcalf. 2-year design program. Graduated with a 3.6 GPA." Brittany didn't look at the paper. She looked at the wall behind Donna's head. "Records get mixed up. I might have used a different name for a semester." Bridget looked up from her legal pad. "Which name?" Silence. 3 seconds. 4. 5. Brittany opened her mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. "I'd have to check my records." Bridget wrote something down. The pen click was the loudest sound in the room. Donna pulled a second document from the folder. "This is your performance review from 2 years ago. During your annual conversation with me, you described growing up in a household where you wore hand-me-downs and worked part-time after school to pay for art supplies. You said you shared a room with your sister until you were 18. You said design was," she looked down at the page, "not a career choice, but a survival tool." She looked up. "Lauren, is that your experience?" I didn't raise my voice. I didn't lean forward. "Yes," I said. Word for word. I felt Brittany's jaw tighten from across the table. I didn't look at her. I didn't need to. Megan cleared her throat. Everyone turned. "I've worked with Brittany for 3 years, she said, her voice calm and steady. "She told me the same story at a team dinner about a year ago. I remember because she described her sister as the one who had it easy, the one who got everything handed to her while Brittany struggled." She looked at me. "That's not what I see." Bridget wrote. Donna nodded. Brittany stared at Megan with the kind of look that says, "I will remember this." Donna reached into the folder one final time. "And there's this." She connected her laptop to the conference room screen. The display flickered on. My screenshots. Full resolution. Every word visible to everyone in the room. Brittany's text to our mother. "She applied to my company. Mom, don't let her buy a new suit. Let her wear the old one. She'll bomb the interview and stop dreaming. Trust me." Donna read it aloud. Slowly. Every word given its full weight. Then she reached for the conference phone at the center of the table. She dialed a number. Speaker on. It rang twice. My mother answered. "Hello, Mrs. Metcalf. This is Donna Hall. I'm the CEO of Ridgewell Creative, where your daughter Brittany works. I'm calling to verify something. Did Brittany send you a text message 3 weeks ago asking you to prevent Lauren from buying a new suit for her interview?" Silence. I could hear my mother breathing through the speaker. Shallow, fast. The sound of someone realizing the walls have ears. Mrs. Metcalf. Yes, my mother said quietly. Like the word cost her something. Yes, she did. The conference room phone seemed to amplify the silence that followed. Brittany stood up. The chair shot backward on the floor with a scraping sound that everyone on the other side of the glass walls heard. This is insane. Her voice cracked, not the controlled crack from earlier, not the precision tears from 10 minutes ago. This was real. She went through Mom's phone. That's a violation of privacy. She was spinning, looking for a foothold, finding none. You're all believing her. She pointed at me. Her hand was shaking. She came here too. She's the one who. She looked around the room. Bridget was writing without looking up. Megan was staring at the table. Donna was watching her with an expression I can only describe as clinical disappointment. Nobody met her eyes. Nobody spoke. The only sound was Bridget's pen, and the still open phone line where my mother had gone silent. I stood up. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cry. I spoke the way you speak when you've been rehearsing something for 3 days and it still doesn't feel like enough, so you just say the truth and let it stand on its own. You took my story, Brittany. She was still standing. Still shaking. You took my community college, my part-time jobs, my hand-me-downs. You wore them to every meeting, every review, every promotion in this building. You turned my life into your brand. I paused. And then you made sure I'd walk into this building looking exactly like what you'd told everyone I was. Someone who doesn't deserve anything new. I looked at her. She looked back. For the first time in my life, she had nothing to say. But I'm the one who lived it, I said. That story is mine. And you don't get to wear it anymore. Donna spoke into the quiet. Brittany, effective immediately, you are suspended pending a formal HR investigation. Bridget will contact you about next steps. Please collect your personal belongings from your desk. Brittany picked up her bag. She left the moleskine notebook on the table. She walked to the door, opened it, and stopped. She turned and looked at me for 2 seconds, maybe 3. I don't know what she was looking for in my face. Guilt, maybe. Some sign that I would take it back if she just asked nicely enough. She didn't find it. She walked out of conference room B. Through the glass walls, the entire open office watched her cross the floor. No one said a word. She didn't look at any of them. Megan stood next to me. Donna closed the folder. The position is yours, she said, if you want it. I said yes. The waves came fast. That evening, my mother called. You went through my phone. How could you do that to your own family? Her voice was shaky, defensive, pitched somewhere between anger and something I hadn't heard from her before. Whatever she said in those texts, she was just trying to protect her career. You didn't need to embarrass Brittany like that. I sat on my couch, the same couch where I'd pinned the suit together, and let her finish. Mom. You gave me a suit from the 1990s and told me I didn't deserve new things. You said it was Brittany's. It was yours. And Brittany told you to do it. Silence. My father's voice from somewhere in the background. Just let it go, Lauren. The family motto. Let it go when they take from you. Let it go when they lie about you. Let it go when the person you thought was your sister turns out to be the architect of every humiliation you ever swallowed. I'm not letting it go, I said. I'm letting you go. I could hear my mother start to respond. If you want to talk to me again, it starts with the truth. Not Brittany's version. The real one. And until you're ready for that, I don't have anything else to say. I hung up. I set the phone face down on the couch. The same way my mother always set hers. The irony wasn't lost on me. The rest of it unraveled quickly. Megan texted, Brittany had been formally terminated. During the HR review, they discovered she had also been claiming a tax deduction for a dependent family member. A second layer of fraud, separate from the narrative theft, but built on the same foundation. The assumption that no one would ever check. Brittany's LinkedIn went dark within hours. Her Instagram, filled with carefully curated posts about self-made success and building something from nothing, went private. The last post before it disappeared was from the day I didn't get a freelance contract 18 months earlier. The caption read, "Grateful for another big week. Hard work always pays off." She had posted it the same day I'd sat in my apartment wondering if I'd ever be good enough. She hadn't just stolen my story. She had built her victories on my defeats. Then Brittany called our parents, not to apologize, not to explain, but to blame. "You should have stopped Lauren," she told our mother. "You let this happen. If you just kept her under control, none of this would have happened." Under control. Like I was a variable in Brittany's equation that someone had forgotten to solve for. My mother, to her credit, was stunned. Not because she suddenly understood what she had done, that would take much longer. But because the daughter she had spent 30 years championing had just turned on her without hesitation. Brittany didn't need mom anymore. The tool had outlived its usefulness. My parents lost both daughters that month. I stopped calling. Brittany blamed them and stopped calling too. The house with the renovated guest suite sat quiet. My Aunt Connie called on a Wednesday. She was a fourth-grade teacher and she avoided conflict the way some people avoid highway merges. But she called. "I should have said something years ago," she said. "I heard Brittany on the phone with your mother once, about a year ago. She said, 'Don't let Lauren apply anywhere serious. She'll mess it up anyway.'" Your mother laughed. Silence. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to start a fight. I told myself it wasn't my business. But it was. It was about you. And I should have told you. "Thank you for telling me now," I said. "Lauren, you were always the strong one. Even when they didn't see it." I hung up. I sat with it. I let it settle. My first day at Ridgewell Creative was a Monday. I wore a blazer I bought myself. Dark gray. Fitted. No pins. I'd found it at a second-hand shop on Division Street, not because I couldn't afford new, but because I wanted to choose it. The choosing mattered more than the price tag. Megan met me in the lobby with a coffee. "Welcome to the actual team," she said. We took the elevator to the 3rd floor. Brittany's old desk had been cleared out. The nameplate was gone. The drawer organizer was gone. The motivational quote she had tacked to the partition, "Built, not given," had been taken down. I didn't sit at her desk. I chose one by the window, 2 rows over. I didn't need to step into her space. I needed my own. Donna came by around 10. She didn't say anything big. Just nodded the way she had when she handed me the blazer that first day, and said, "Good to have you here." I set up my laptop, a new one, company issued. I placed my cracked iPad next to it. I didn't throw it away. I wouldn't. Every project I had ever built was on that screen. Every late night, every free tutorial, every client I had chased and delivered for. The cracks were part of the record. That evening, I went home to my apartment. I hung the new blazer on the hook by the door. The same hook that had held the pinned suit, the same hook that had held Donna's borrowed blazer. 2 blazers now. One given to me by someone who saw the truth. One bought with money I had earned. I stood in front of the bathroom mirror. Same cracked tile. Same flickering light. But the woman looking back was different. Not because she had gotten a job. Not because she had confronted her sister or proven her parents wrong. Those things happened and they mattered. But they weren't the change. The change was simpler. I could look at my own reflection and not hear Brittany's voice translating it for me. Not hear my mother measuring it against someone else. Not hear anyone telling me what the image in the mirror deserved. For the first time, the mirror was just mine. They gave me a suit that didn't fit and told me it was all I deserved. But the suit was never the problem. The problem was a family that needed me to stay small so one of them could feel big. I don't wear hand-me-downs anymore. Not the clothes. Not the story. This one is mine.